Welcome back to MotionPic Recap. Today we're going to recap the science fiction and action movie titled, The Day After Tomorrow. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. In the first scene, we see a paleoclimatologist called Jack Hall and his colleagues Frank and Jason drilling for ice cores. Suddenly, a chunk of the ice the size of the state of Rhode Island breaks off. Some time later, Jack is holding a speech at the United Nations Global Warming Conference, warning about an impending global cooling event. According to their findings using ice core data, this could happen at any time between 100 to 1,000 years from now. Jack explains that a continued use of fossil fuels would lead to global warming, that would not only disrupt, but shut down the North Atlantic current that is keeping the North Polar region warm, and in turn cause a new ice age. Afterwards, Jack talks with Professor Terry Rapson of the Headland Centre in Scotland, who is an oceanographer, and discuss each other's research. A few days later, Japan experiences a horrific storm where enormous chunks of hail fall down from the sky, hitting people and destroying the city. At the Headland Centre in Scotland where Terry works, Terry and his colleagues notice a large and sudden temperature drop in one location over the Atlantic, figuring the instrument measuring the temperature is damaged. Astronauts at the International Space Station simultaneously report on massive storms forming over the Earth. Back at Terry's weather station, the three suddenly notice more instruments in several other locations over the ocean detect temperature drops, realizing the measurements are real. Meanwhile in New York, a man called Sam, who is Jack's son, is with his friends Laura and Brian to participate in an academic decathlon, when suddenly their attention is drawn to an unprecedented flock of birds heading south. Terry is seen calling Jack, telling him his climate projections are correct, but that they won't occur in a couple centuries, they have already started happening. Jack then remarks that the last time something like this happened was 10,000 years ago. In Los Angeles, a weather technician finds out hail has begun falling on a local beach, and informs his boss they have to issue a tornado warning in the state. But before the alert has even reached the public, several massive tornadoes have hit Los Angeles and caused massive panic. As quickly as they appeared, the tornadoes then vanish, leaving the city totally devastated and in ruins. In a NOAA weather center, Jack and his two colleagues, as well as members from NASA and NOAA, are discussing the cause of the weather catastrophes. They remark that the same types of weather disasters are occurring around the world. Jack informs them that he received a call from Terry who believes the North Atlantic current has changed, which would not only cause the extreme weather conditions to continue, but they would worsen. A day later, Jack and his colleagues, as well as a woman from NASA called Janet Tokata, are doing more weather projections based on historical data, and find that the Earth will be in the middle of a new ice age in 6 to 8 weeks. The following morning, Jack goes to see the vice president to show their results and convince him to do large-scale evacuations, especially in the northern states. Meanwhile in Scotland, Terry and his co-workers have snowed in, and not far away, 3 helicopters are deployed to pick up the British royal family. As the helicopters suddenly pass through the eye of a huge storm, the fuel lines start freezing, and the rotors abruptly stop spinning in mid-air, causing the helicopters to crash. One of the pilots that made it in the crash attempts to get out, but freezes immediately. Simultaneously, Sam, Laura and Brian are stuck in New York as heavy rain has flooded the subway and caused flights to be cancelled. They attempt to find a driver that can take them out of the city and head south, but instead seek shelter at the New York Public Library as the streets start to flood as well. Simultaneously in a nearby zoo, some zookeepers discover that all wolves are gone from their cage. As Sam and the others make their way to the library, a tsunami-like storm surge hits the city from nowhere. In the chaos, Sam and his friends run towards the library and Laura accidentally cuts her leg on a sharp metal piece from a car. They manage to reach the building and escape the massive storm surge just in time. Jack and Terry talk over the phone and discuss how the helicopters could freeze so quickly. Eventually they conclude that the storms cause supercool air from the upper atmosphere to descend, and so rapidly that it doesn't warm up as it falls, causing everything to freeze instantly at ground level. They also discover that their projections were wrong, and that the Earth in reality will be in a new ice age in just a little over a week. Jack's weather forecast shows 3 big storms growing, and in just a few days, they will cover the whole northern hemisphere. Since power is down, there is no service in New York to make phone calls. Sam, however, finds a payphone which receives power directly from the telephone line, and calls his father Jack. Jack tells his son to stay inside and wait out the storms, and burn anything they can to stay warm. Jack then also tells his son he will come for him. The room flooded with ice-cold water during the call, and Sam has to swim out. As he gets out of the water and they find dry clothes for him, Laura has to embrace Sam and use her body heat to warm him up. Jack starts packing to go and find Sam. Close to the library, A big cargo ship is later seen being washed in from the sea, and gets stuck due to the shallow water. Before leaving to get to Sam, Jack meets with the administration to explain the situation, and suggests evacuating everyone in the southern states since the weather conditions will only get worse. The vice president asks what the people in the north should do, to which Jack answers that it's too late for them and that they will die if they go outside. He explains their best chances are to stay inside and keep warm. The president then determines they should act on Jack's suggestion and orders the southern states to be evacuated to Mexico. At the Headland Center in Scotland, the power is out, and Terry and his co-workers freeze to death. Meanwhile in New York, the temperature has dropped significantly and the flooded streets have frozen to ice. Hundreds of people are seen walking on the ice to head south, and most of the people inside the library decide to do the same, even though Sam tries to warn them they will freeze to death. Jack is about to start heading north to get to his son in Manhattan when his co-workers and friends, Frank and Jason, join him. At the Mexican border, people are desperate and are starting to cross illegally. Back at the library, Sam and the few people that stayed, gather books to burn in an old fireplace, as well as loot vending machines for food. Just north of Philadelphia, Jack and his two friends hit an obstruction and continue by walking. As they are walking on the snow, they suddenly walk on a glass roof that breaks, and Frank falls in. Thanks to the lifeline, Frank is caught, but as Jack and Jason begin to try pulling him up, the glass they are standing on starts cracking. Seeing this, Frank decides to sacrifice himself to save his old friends, and cuts the lifeline. Back in the library, Sam and Laura are talking while the others sleep, and Sam reveals to her that the only reason he joined their team was because of her. Laura then kisses him. The following morning, Laura doesn't wake up and has a high fever. The group then discovers her injury on her leg, and concludes that she most likely has blood poisoning and needs penicillin straight away to survive. Figuring there must be medicine on the cargo ship stuck outside the library, Sam decides to go and search for penicillin there, and Brian and a recently befriended guy called JD join him. From the International Space Station, astronauts see that the eye of one of the storms will pass over New York within the hour. As Jack and Jason are approaching New York, Jason suddenly collapses and Jack has to carry him. Sam and his two friends make it to the cargo ship, but unbeknownst to them, the wolves from the zoo have caught their scent and have started to go after them. While the trio finds penicillin, as well as food, and starts to gather it, the wolves have made it into the cargo ship. Suddenly, the three sees the wolves and tries to escape into a room, but JD is bitten in the leg. The astronauts see that the eye of the storm is right over New York. Sam also notices the eye is over them and tells his friends that they must go immediately. Sam lures the wolves away and manages to trap them. They pack all the food and JD in a life raft and start running back to the library. Meanwhile, Jack realizes he is in the eye of the storm too, and begins preparing to take shelter. While Sam and Brian are running, the skyscrapers start to freeze from the top and down. Jack throws the unconscious Jason down into a building, after which he jumps in himself, all while seeing the American flag freeze in the middle of waving. Sam and Brian run through the library and just barely make it to the room, and they start throwing more books on the fire. Several hours later, when the eye of the storm has passed, Jason wakes up in a kitchen where Jack has managed to keep them warm. Since Jack is worried Sam may not survive another day, they leave immediately. Closing in on New York City later, they see the people having left the New York Public Library, sadly having frozen to death. The next day, the astronauts at the International Space Station can see landmass for the first time in many days. Jack and Jason wake up to a spectacular frozen landscape, eventually reaching New York. The duo make it to the library and start searching inside. Suddenly they find a door from which they spot glowing light emitted from underneath. They open it, and behind it, Sam and all the others are seen around the fireplace. Sam runs up to his father and they hug each other. As the news about survivors reach the military in the South, helicopters are deployed to go and get them, as well as search for more. While they all are on their way back in the helicopter, they spot survivors on roofs being rescued by the military. In the final scene, an astronaut at the International Space Station remarks that he has never seen the Earth's atmosphere so clear, ever. The end. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this and hit the like button to help us out. Until next time, take care.